4 or 5 years ago, but he's mainly in San Diego.
Okay.
But he comes up once a month, Monday night, and they do the Bad Bad Show, which was an old show that they started in the basement of, oh God, it was in Alston. I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was basically the dirtiest show. Like everybody's blue, like it's gross.
Sounds like
but
my kind of crowd.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so fun.
It is a Randy room.
It's
Exactly.
I had one over the top disgusting joke about getting a golden shower, and that was the only place that I could
Why do
do
I
it.
feel like I've heard this story?
I might have even told it to you, but that's the
I
only
was part of
place.
the story.
That's the only place I could ever do that joke.
Okay.
But it's a great show.
Really?
It's
I'll
really
tell
fun.
any joke anywhere. I'm fucking stupid. I don't read the room all the time.
That's the type of joke that, like, if I were to do that at like the comedy scene in front of those like 60-year-old white folks, it would just be like,
You know, I didn't do a lot of the comedy scene, I think I did fucking Rick's, the one.
the studio.
The studio. I think I did it like once.
Yeah.
He had to go through the whole process. He has like a paper. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, you get a packet.
Yeah,
He would
it's
tell
like
you how to behave. Meanwhile, he's sitting there getting wasted all night long. But also, you probably don't know, but there was a little scandal about
No.
2 years ago
Let's hear
where in
this.
which he was watching. So, the studio was in Harvard Square. Then it
For
moved
those
over
listening, this is
to.
a comedy studio in Boston.
Then it moved to Somerville,
Yep.
Bow Market. And then it got basically like shut down. I don't know
Yeah.
if he wasn't paying his rent or whatever the story was.
Well, I remember when they moved it. I remember the original one.
Yeah.
That's actually where I met Chase.
Yeah.
And where I met Sam. And then I remember the new one. It was like in that super high end thing. I'm like, where the fuck's he getting money for this? Because the other place was like kind of a dump above a Chinese restaurant, which made sense for Boston comedy.
Yeah.
And then he moved into like a fancy like a strip thing in Porter Square.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck, man, it's
Yeah.
got to be way more expensive.
And the Hong Kong was like famous. That
yeah.
attic was. I mean, that was. I mean,
Get the
Louis
Chinese chicken
CK
nuggets and shit?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Chicken fingers. Really.
Whatever the fuck they're called.
Which you cannot get out here.
No.
Which I don't understand.
No. Well, that's the thing. Actually, why don't I just jump in? All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome to the Ready Set Blow podcast. As usual, we just start talking shit, and I forget the intro. Back with my homegirl from Laura Severse. She's now an LA resident. Last time we just visited.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're in the old studio. I've moved studios twice since then.
Oh, all right.
I was on that one at the Third Wheel when they originally opened it, and then I went to their fancier studio, and then Mikey here came available, and I want to work with my bubby.
And now we sound like we're in a sequel of The Departed.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do.
I love it.
Yeah. So I was talking about the comedy studio. So yeah. So fucking Rick, like, both Corey and Kathy Farris were like, yeah, you gotta get him on. And he was like, okay. And then he handed me the packet. I'm like, all right. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I'm leaving in 4 months. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to jump through these hoops.
Right.
I'm going to do spots elsewhere. Thanks,
Right.
but no thanks.
Well,
And he's a nice guy. Look, I never had a problem with Rick Jenkins. But
No, he's very sweet. I
I didn't have time for the process.
Yeah, he had and has good intentions, but I think execution was tough. But
We took
yeah,
on a lot, like I said. I mean, that's that overhead. He was probably paying like fucking $400 a week for that piece of shit room up above the Hong Kong.
wasn't paying much there, and the thing
The
of
floors
it
were
is
sticky and
that
crooked. It was perfect.
It was a
Yeah.
true, like you felt like you were in a true, like not underground, but you were in like a real place of
Yeah.
comedy.
And it was like that for like 25 years.
Yeah,
It had
forever.
unchanged. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all the big names went
course,
through there,
yeah.
from Louis C.K. to Gary
saw
Goldman.
Gary Goldman there, yeah,
Oh yeah,
crush. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he and in fact with Gary Goldman, when he came back in the summer of 2017 because he was not doing well, you know,
Yeah,
he
the
was
depression
suffering
thing.
with the
Yeah.
mental illness, and he would go to the studio quite a bit. And if you've
That's
watched,
when I saw him.
Yeah.
I saw him in New York when I was a kid, but that was the first time I saw him as a comic.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And great guy, super nice to me.
Oh.
They had to. Then a couple weeks later, I did a show with him at Laugh. Like a showcase show with Tony V, which was a fucking dream for me because the guys are legends. My
Yeah, I
stupid
love Tony
fucking
V.
punk ass. I was
Tony's
probably
the
15 months into
best.
comedy to come in doing the show. I had no business.
Gary Goldman is one of the most decent, kind, just incredible human beings you'll ever come across in your life. Like, regardless of comedy and being a comic, he's just a good human. And I absolutely love him. And he's so smart, and he's an incredible writer.
Oh, I was going to say, I actually save, this is probably during the pandemic, maybe even before, he would post
yeah.
writing tips.
Yes.
I saved them all.
Yep,
I
same.
saved all of them because they were like, this is really good fucking information.
Same.
No, it was quality shit.
Yeah.
And the guy's an incredible writer, so of course. You know,
Every
take his
single day
advice.
he would post that, and I tried so hard to do everything he would say, and then at some point, I kind of fell off. But the basic tenets of writing every day and whatever. And I don't sit down with a notebook anymore and write out jokes.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like all comics try and do it like school. Like, all right, time to do my homework, and some can do it, and most can't. And I kind of feel like at some point you got to find your own way to write your own material.
Yeah, like a very small. So I do phone notes. Like,
that's what I do. Yeah,
and I'll jot down something like the other day.
If I have an idea or I say something funny and someone reacts to it, like, all right, there's something there, and I'll work on it later on stage or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And two things about that. So the other day, my daughter's birthday was on September 15th and my son's birthday is on September 27th. And somehow he got more money. Like he got like $100 extra, which doesn't make sense because the same family gave the same amount of gifts, but somehow he ended up more. And I turned to him and I go, how the hell did you get more? And he was like, 70 cents on the dollar, Ma. And I was like, dude. I mean, for a 15-year-old kid now to like have that kind of fucking insight and whatever. And of course, my daughter was like, oh, but it's so good and so funny. So I just wrote down, Teddy, 70 cents on the dollar. So now I'll try to work a joke around. Exactly. I'll figure something out around that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I even said at one point we were talking too, and I said, are you trying to mansplain something to me? And he goes, he's like, you don't even know what mansplaining is. Let me tell you what mansplaining is. And I'm like,
he starts mansplaining? That's great.
That's brilliant. Yeah. Like this kid is like.
Explain to you mansplaining.
Yeah. And then with the writing thing, so I was hosting at Oxnard Levity Light like 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
For Brett Ernst was the headliner.
Oh, no shit. I love Brett. Brett. I was there doing Sunday night with Jeff last weekend.
He is awesome. Yeah. Brett is one of those guys that like you just. He's one of those guys that you could tell, like you could have like a screaming match with him, but if somebody fucked with you, he'd knock him out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's just one of those dudes. Yeah, I love that. I'm a big, already. I love that like towny, like aggressive. Like I just fucking.
I couldn't tell from the tone of your voice.
Meanwhile, I married like a mild-mannered web developer from the suburbs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
So how long you been out here now?
I got here on July 10th.
Oh,
so,
shit.
Yeah, it's
not even 3 months yet.
Yeah, it's
barely next week.
Yeah.
Where'd you move to? What part of
We're
town?
in Burbank.
Nice.
And
Convenient.
I love it. Yeah. I absolutely love it. I thought I was going to miss being in the city, but Burbank is enough city.
The thing is, LA, there is no in the city.
Right.
It's a giant fucking suburb. I mean, I live in West Hollywood, and it's just like you kind of in the neighborhood.
Yes.
There's no central location. I mean, you can go to downtown LA and hang out with the homeless.
Yeah, no. It's brutal down there.
Yeah,
but you're right. There's no. It's not like Boston with there's a centralized downtown. I'm going in town. You know. And actually, speaking of downtown LA, so they have a bookstore down there. I think it's called like the Last Bookstore, something. I don't know, but it's
Mike's nodding. It is the Last Bookstore.
It is, right? Like it's awesome. Yeah. It is. I brought the kids there a couple of. They were like, "What the fuck are we doing here?" But I was like, "I'm buying books. You should try it." But. Anyway, this is a book.
Yeah. I get all my information from TikTok, Mom. What are you talking about?
My son spends the evenings. I'll be on the couch and he's just sending me TikTok after TikTok. I'm like, just fucking pick up a goddamn book, you fucking clown. But
how old are your kids?
Well, they just turned 13 and 15, so now I officially have two teenagers.
Are they psyched to be out here in LA? Or?
So yeah, like okay.
Were they like, oh, I don't want to leave my friends?
Teddy,
bullshit.
Teddy did not want to leave. He had gotten into Boston Latin School, which is a public school. Yep, in Boston. It's ranked as high as it gets in the nation. I mean, it's up there. We used to be a feeder school to Harvard way back in the 1600s. It was founded in like 1635, and. Anyway, so he got in. It's an exam school. For those of you listening that don't know, there are 3 exam schools in the city of Boston: the O'Brien Boston Latin Academy and Boston Latin School. Boston Latin School is ranked the highest, and it's open. You take an exam in the 6th or the 8th grade to get in. Every kid in the city of Boston is allowed to take this test and encouraged to do so. And then you get into one of these schools, and it's college prep, and it's rigorous, and it's.
See, I wouldn't want to. They have that in New York. Like you get take schools to get into. Stuyvesant, Brooklyn Tech,
like
Bronx Science, all those schools. But you could also just apply like a college application, almost like a mini college application to any school outside of your district.
Oh.
And the test was on a Saturday. I'm like, I'm not fucking giving up a Saturday.
Of course you weren't.
So I didn't do it. Still got into a good school though. Still
Yeah,
got into
you
a good
did.
college.
Yeah, you
I
did
all right.
all right.
I did all right. But
I mean, it's no Harvard, Yale.
I know, right?
But you did all right.
So your kids are trying to go to Harvard? Is that the thing?
So,
What
well,
do they wanna do?
Jenny, so Teddy wanted to go to BLS super bad. He wanted to play football for them. His whole thing is he wants to be like an academic athlete, blah, 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 right?
Okay.
And he's big into football. So I had made a deal with Josh like years ago. I'm like, if Teddy doesn't get into Latin for the 7th grade, we're moving to California. Well, he didn't get in. And
Then you got in the 8th grade.
of course, we go to
You
Burbank.
could have left him there.
We could have. We surely could have. He could
parents
have
took
lived
care
with
of
my
him.
parents. Yeah. So back in I think it was May. So we have the kids take the exams. You have to anyway.
Yeah.
You might as well, right? So we come to Burbank. We're doing recon. We're driving around, checking everything out. My husband's like, all right, I think this is the spot. And I'm like, I fucking said that already. But yeah. Anyway, we get home at on a red eye Friday morning at 8 o'clock. At 10 a.m., the test results come in. Teddy has gotten into Boston Latin School. And I'm like, are you kidding? Because that's a major life thing. This is a feeder school to the
Yeah, it's a good
Ivies.
school.
This is an incredible school, and it's free.
Did you know what kind of schools you'd get into out here?
I
I
did
heard
a
out here you got to do all
lot.
that fucking. You got to go and interview.
I did a lot of research,
Okay.
and I actually had help. There was a comic in Boston, Skylar, and she kind of clued me into the Burbank and then to the schools in Burbank.
Yeah.
And there's actually a divide in Burbank. There's the rich section and the working class,
The
blue
Mexican
collar
section.
section. And we are clearly in the working class blue collar section. But so he goes to the boroughs, and the boroughs is ranked super high academically.
Okay.
It's public, but their football team is great. Their baseball team is champs.
Well, that's the thing out here, man. Back east, I went to college. I went to high school in all my elementary school stuff in New York. So there was just never a campus. But here they have
right.
facilities.
Yeah.
And what? There's
Dude.
multiple buildings. I just went to a windowless building for
Yes,
5,
you
6
just
hours
went
a day.
to one structure,
Yeah.
and then you change classes. You just walk down the hall,
Yeah.
right? Here, it's like they're in a movie in LA from the 80s.
Oh yeah,
You-
everyone's
you
got
go
outdoor
outside.
lockers.
Yes,
What the fuck?
they go outside to change classes. I walked my daughter on the
there's a
first
quad.
day.
I don't even know what a quad was. Yeah.
Yes, so we went to the first day. Jenny was like, they have a library, and I'm like, they do, and a cafeteria, and they have clubs after school. It was literally walking into a movie. I'm like, this is insane. Teddy's had they had an open house at his high school, and I was just like, this is wild. They were cheerleaders, making
I'm
a
sure he loves
banner.
that.
Oh, he does. Making a banner. And then there was they had homecoming, and there's a big dance coming
Yeah,
up. I'm
there's
like,
none of that
this
shit
is
back east.
wild. I'm like, this is insane.
What's the name of the high school in Burbank? There's a 9 out of 10 chance that there's already a movie that was filmed in
I'm
that high
sure-
school.
I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, dude, fucking Fast Times was filmed there. Or some
Ridgemont
shit.
High
Yeah.
or some, yeah, absolutely. There's there's Burbank High, and then there's the John D. Burroughs, and the Burroughs is where he is, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And when we came out in July, so Teddy was the one who did not want to come here. He was like, I'm all sad. My friends want to play football at BLS
We
or
didn't do this
CM.
football in California.
And I was like, Ted, you want to play football? Southern California is where you
Better
need
than
to be, you
fucking
idiot.
Massachusetts. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I'll tell
Or
you
you're
right
going to
now,
get
yeah.
recruited out of get out of here. And I was like, what an idiot. So I had to really sell it to him. Within the first week, he had to start doing practice, and immediately, the kid is 6'1". He weighs 245 pounds.
That's a big kid.
They started him at left tackle on the JV team, and he's being pulled over to varsity.
Oh, good.
So
There you
I
go.
mean, he's a monstrously sized child, which is unnerving. And he's been doing this thing lately. I don't fucking like it, and he better watch his.
thing?
I'm gonna clean his fucking clock. I'll tell you that. He's doing this thing where he'll come up on me and kind of flex on me. I'm like, are you flexing on your mother? And he's like, no, I was just and I'm like, I don't
What's he
give a
flexing on you for?
I stupid shit. He'll be like, Ma, hand me a water bottle. I'm like, say please and come at me, come correct.
Trying to
as
intimidate
they
his
say.
mother.
Yeah. So my husband lost his shit the other day and grabbed him by the back of the neck and kind of pushed him out of the way and was like, if you do that again, we're going to have a big problem. And Ted's like, what? And I'm like, you're trying to use your size on me. I'm your fucking mother.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to do. So I punched him in the stomach. I balled up and I was like, "We're done." And I just went
There
bam.
is a thing. I feel like a lot of kids these days don't have a healthy fear of their parents. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was a kid, they told you to stop, and you fucking stopped.
You
like
stopped.
you didn't talk back, and like it's weird that like I feel like it's like, oh, you don't want to give the kid PTSD. Kids should have some fucking fear. Like they should be like learn how to respect, but like know that there's consequences for your actions. You can't just haul off and talk to people certain ways.
Absolutely
or act a certain
not.
way.
Absolutely not. And you're absolutely right, by the way. There are no consequences for these kids. And 9 times out of the 10, the parent is like, he's just expressing himself. You will express yourself right the fuck over there.
I know. Well, it's also like, it's weird that you're a bad parent if you discipline your kid. Like if you're strict with them, if you're not like, what is your emotional state? Fuck your emotional state.
No, I don't care about your emotional state. I am telling you, I remember I grew up in my parents are boomers. I'm Gen X. Like I grew up in a very, what we would consider to be like a classic household. You don't talk back to your mother. If you talk back to your father, you get your ticket punched. You know what I mean? Like you're in trouble. Yeah. We had a fear of our parents. And again, like you said, there should be a healthy amount of fear. You should be concerned if I'm telling you to shut up or your father's coming at you, should be concerned.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I think he's just testing the waters, but that's
he's
why
also
I
at
ended
that
up.
age, right? 15 years old. Fuck knows what he's thinking.
And
he
doesn't
know what he's thinking.
He doesn't. And he said to me something the other day. I was trying to explain something to him. He goes, just stop. I know. And I go, oh, I'm so sorry. You've been on this earth for 15 whopping years. Of course you know better than me.
I know, but we all did that.
I know,
right?
I know.
And then you're learning like, wow, I didn't know shit. And then you get older and you realize I still don't know shit.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The older you get, the more you
I'm
realize.
40 years old, I don't know anything.
Yes.
I don't know. Like,
yes.
I'm just guessing like everybody else, doing my best.
Yep. Seriously. Well, what else can you do? The older I get, the more I realize, fuck, there's just so much I don't know, and there's so much I want to know, and I'm probably gonna die before I get to it. But
we all do.
Yeah. But yeah, we've had to be aggressive. Again, he's testing the waters and seeing what he can get away with. And then my daughter, on the other hand, is like this perfect little angel who, she got into the gifted and talented program at her school, and she's straight A's, and she's got a little nerd crew. And this is fantastic. I said to her the other day, I go, what are the name of your friends in the crowd? And she's like,
Her new friends?
All her friends. Right? And then she goes, I don't want to tell you. And I go,
what's that about?
I go, why? And she goes, because you're going to make fun of it or put it on stage. And I go, oh, now you have to.
Yeah, now I
so
need
you
to
ready?
Know.
Dash,
Jesus Christ.
Ash, and Cash.
You fucking kidding me?
I shit you not. And then Ariana.
Okay, it's a normal name.
But Dash, Ash, and Cash. And I go, come on, man.
Dash?
And she's like, well, but, Dash is Dashiell. I'm like, all right. And Ash is Ashton. I'm like, all right. And I go, and what's Cash? And she was like, just Cash. It's like, all right.
That's pretty funny.
Dash, Ash, and Cash. I'm like, get out of here.
Well, it reminds me of that old fucking George Carlin joke where it's like, Vinny, Joey, and Tommy are gonna beat the shit out of Tucker, Tyler, and Carlson 10 times out of 10.
100%.
Whatever it was, whatever names you use. It's like
a part of me actually almost wishes like we had named Teddy like Rocco, just so that everybody would know, because Rocco Severse, that kid's a badass.
Teddy's a good name. That's a solid name.
It's a good name. It'll
Anybody
carry
call him
him. We never did. You know why?
His friends do?
No,
Okay.
Because Theo Epstein was GM at the time, and when I had him, and Theo was kind of the nickname for Theodore, and I was like, "Now we're going Teddy."
Right.
And plus, I feel like Teddy. I want to write a joke around this, but Ted is the type of name. Like when I had said to Josh, I was like, I want to name this kid Roman. He was like, no.
Roman,
I'm like,
Jesus.
What about Romeo? And he was like, absolutely fucking
That's even
not.
worse.
And he was like, what about Rocco? He's like, Laura, please hear me out. He's like, Rocco.
You name him like a dog.
He goes, this is what I'll never forget this. He goes, Rocco is someone who violates women mentally and physically. He goes, we're naming the kid after Ted Williams. We're going to call him Teddy. And he's like, here's why. Ted walks up to the door. He shakes the father's hand. He looks him in the eye, and he still gets to finger bang the girl. So he's like, so trust me.
Or Ted Bundy. Like,
yeah.
Ted Kaczynski.
Ted
You can do that with any
Kaczynski.
name,
Ted
Yeah, pretty much any
Kennedy
name.
could go either way. Yeah, there's a lot of famous Teds, good and bad. Good and bad. But yeah, so, But yeah, I mean, it's been so Teddy has adapted exceptionally well. I mean, being on the football team, and he's like big man on campus. He's he's in the 9th grade. He's like jacked.
He's a new guy. That always helps, right?
Yeah, with the accent.
The new guy. Oh, he has an accent too.
No, yeah. It's funny. It's like it's definitely more low key than mine, but it's there. Like you certain words, and I'm like, oh, But Jenny doesn't have. She used to have a British accent. That's
British?
actually yes.
What the fuck? She get a British accent?
For years,
Was she like Madonna? She just made a fake one.
I know what it's from. It's two things. She had a classmate who was Irish, and she kept trying to mimic the brogue. But on top of that, we had what I call a lost weekend. We had a wedding, and Josh and I both got wasted, which we never do. Our rule has always been only one parent can be fucked up at a time, because when you have children, anything can happen at any time. Like it can all go off the rails, right? And
That's why
one
I
of
don't have
you,
kids.
well, one of you has to be sober.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At any given moment, right? Because if you're both fucked up, somebody's got to go to the ER. That's just how it goes. Like something will happen, right? But we both got messed up, and I put her down in front of Harry Potter for like 12 straight hours. And by Monday, she was like, oh, hello, Mom. She was like 3. And then for the next like 8 years, she had this British accent that never quite went away. And now it's faded out and it's only certain words. But it became...
That's weird. They think you adopted her or something?
It became part of her. And I do a whole, I have a whole thing about it, of course, but it became a whole thing. And people would be like, well, she needs to see someone. And I'm like, who's she
Can she
hurting?
speak English? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, like who is she bothering? Actually, think it's funny, especially I'd be in Marshall's yelling at her, and she'd be like, "Why are you so upset?"
Did you even ask her about it, or she just started doing it?
It just she was so young when it started that there was no point in me being like what am I going to say to a 3.5-year-old? Like, you have a British accent. Did you know that? Like, she doesn't know that she had a British accent.
Gotcha.
I took her to the doctor, and he was just like, who cares?
Yeah.
He goes, there's far worse things that she could be. He's like,
she could have a Massachusetts accent.
Yeah, I mean, she could have a Boston accent, and then we'd be all fucked. But like
Does Josh have an accent too, your husband?
No, not at all. He's a suburban boy.
Okay.
So he grew up in Marshfield, 30 miles south of the city. So he's nothing.
Okay.
He's got that classic like
You
white
been to
boy.
Marshfield?
No, I was saying fucking Moshfield.
Fucking Marsh.
They call it Marsh Vegas, and I'm like, all right.
Marsh Vegas.
Yeah.
Nothing in Massachusetts is Vegas.
Should be Vegas.
I know they got that. I know. Yeah, exactly. I know they got that new fucking casino. Even that is not.
And that's in Everett. Oh,
I know, right?
anyway.
What a place to put a fucking iron casino in a dump like Everett.
Dude, they said, what town needs more drug addiction?
Yeah.
More more problems. Let's put it right here.
Just
yeah.
All the bookies went indoors.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I mean, of all the spots, it just fits.
How? So, are you working now? What are you?
Oh yeah, I still.
And
have
was your husband with the same company? Or was he just moved
He's
out?
with the same company. He works for an international financial company, so everybody,
home and all that?
everybody's remote, and they're in all different time zones. And and basically, he just called HR and was like, "I'm moving to California," and they were amazing. They literally switched us from like Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance to like California Blue Shield. Like it was seamless. The only glitch for him, and it's not that big of a deal, is he has to get up at 4:30.
No shit.
Because they all go by Eastern.
Yeah, and then he's done early.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he's done by 1:30, 2:30 at the latest, and he does drop off and pick up with the kids.
Is he liking it? Is he
yeah,
managing?
he's happy. He's fine. Like he loves California way more than I ever thought he would.
Really?
Like I knew that he was coming along with me for the ride, so to speak. We have this running joke, but that's not a joke for me. But the other day he was like, "You said something like you should be glad that we all came with you. That we all moved out here." I go, "No, I was coming." I don't know what you guys were planning to do.
I'm actually upset you all came. I was
Like,
looking forward to being single again.
Yeah, like I was
Single and childless.
Like I would have gotten a 1-bed. I don't give a fuck. If they hadn't come with me, my plan was to get a studio in West Hollywood and just go back and forth because I was coming out here no matter what. Thankfully, everybody cooler heads
they all jumped on
prevailed.
board. Yeah.
Yes, but my daughter at one point was like, "No, I'm going too," and I'm like, "All right, we're up to a 2-bed now. Who's coming?" Like.
She was the first one ready to go, huh?
She was on board from day one.
What's that? Do you think she hated Boston?
She's just a really interesting kid. Like she's
adventurous.
just like she said to me, "Well, I'll be the new girl at school. That's kind of neat. It'll be a new experience and whatever." So
That's
she's
thoughtful.
just
Kids aren't really are that
no.
thoughtful.
She's just a different breed of child, and but she did work a deal with me though. She's like, "But hear me out." She's like, "I want a cat," and I was like, "All right," and I was like, "Ah,
She got a
fuck."
cat in the deal.
So, and she said, here's my proposition. you work on getting me a cat, I'll work on Dad. And I was like,
I'll work
deal.
on Dad.
And I was like, that's a deal. Oh, because, you know.
Couldn't you just
he'll
withhold sex?
do. Yeah.
What, you're not getting laid until we move to
I mean,
California.
I already
Fuck,
do-
I'm moving to California.
We already did that. I don't know. I'm of an age. No, I'm kidding. Actually, no. I was gonna say something wicked dirty. All right. Anyway, but he, so she was like, I'll come in at my angle, you come in at yours, you get me that cat, and we'll make it happen.
She should have went for the dog.
She doesn't want a dog. Dogs
Really,
are so
that's
much
weird.
work.
Yeah, I'd worry about that, Laura.
But the
You
dogs
raising
are
a cat lady.
Yeah, well, it's okay. We're just I'm gonna cap her at the one.
Okay.
But I also, dogs are too much work. And here's the thing: we travel too much.
Yeah.
We're going back to Boston
already, yeah.
Back. I gotta go. Also, we're going back in December for 2 weeks. We're going to Hawaii in March for 2 weeks.
That's nice.
And we go to the Cape in July for 2 weeks. It's like, am I going to pay for the dog, or am I going to pay for, to travel? Or am I going to pay for the fucking dog to be boarded? I don't have that. I don't have dog boarding money.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's not part of my budget, But so the dog, maybe at some point, but not anytime. So cats are easy.
They are easy. They also, I feel like cats just don't. I don't know. I don't have a problem with cats. I just don't have any affinity for them. Like they're kind of just. I look at them almost as wild animals you let in your house. Like
Kinda.
I feel like cats don't really. They pretend to enjoy their human until they die, and then they eat their face.
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't give a shit.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they don't give like they're very soulless little animals.
We had a cat for over
Which is
21
cool, but not for me.
We had a cat for over 21 years, Frank. And
Frank.
Yeah, I tried to name
cat
him.
named Frank?
Yeah, he was great. He was a miniature Maine Coon cat. So he had he was overly fluffy, just this ridiculous looking cat, but he was tiny. He was a great cat. But anyway, towards the end of his life, he was a disaster. I mean, he stopped cleaning himself. He would forget where his food was. I brought
He let
him,
himself go, huh?
he
Like a
did let-
divorced husband or something?
100, yes. Brought him to the vet, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's classic cat dementia." And I was like,
Cats get dementia?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's crazy.
21 years
well,
old.
a friend of mine has a fucking dog they give Prozac to.
Yes.
I'm like the dog apparently suffers from depression. I'm like,
I mean,
the
how
fuck
do
do
you
you
even
know?
know? How do you even know?
Yeah, you asking me, you're sad? Like, what the fuck?
Is he just like, "Meh."
I'm used to the vet asking, is the dog eating? Yes. He's fine. That seems to be like the first question of every time I went to the vet with my old dog is he eating? Yeah. I was like, it'll be all right. It's like, when they stop eating is when vets get worried. Other than that, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Unless they're like hobbling around like something's broken, like they actually broke an arm or a leg or whatever.
What the idea though of a dog being depressed is like that's of all the things I got to tackle in my life, that'd be the last fucking thing I'm going to be concerned
Also,
with.
but how the fuck can a dog be depressed?
It
It has the best life ever.
Right.
Another person cleans up after it, provides it with a roof and food.
Also,
It has no problems with other predators, not getting fucked with at all.
Right.
Like, what is
Right.
the dog mad about?
okay, and also going back to your point, like, how does the person even know the dog? Did he not jump high enough when
I know,
he came
yeah,
through
what
the
the
door?
fuck- yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
Yeah, he was on the patio smoking a cigarette, looking
He
forlorn.
was just like, oh, what is life even?
He was fashioning a noose without thumbs. It was amazing. Like, what the fuck? How the fuck would you know the goddamn dog is
He
depressed?
threw himself down the stairs again. All right. Get out of
He's
here.
licking the wall sockets. Like,
It's so ridiculous.
fucking stupid.
It's really dumb.
There's a lot of this shit out here, man. I know people give their dog CBD. Oh man, I was telling somebody this recently. I read an article. A woman had her dog neutered, but had fake testicles put in, so his dog wouldn't feel bashful around the other dogs at the dog park. And I'm like, do you think the dogs notice the
Randy.
balls are missing? She gave her dog ball implants. I swear to God. I
I'm
swear to
gonna.
God.
Okay.
How crazy is that?
That's lunacy.
Also,
That's
just leave the
absolute
dog's balls
lunacy.
on if you don't.
Yeah, if you're so worried. Can I tell you something? Kids that are so if you have so I know someone whose son was born with just one ball, which is just the
Okay.
one nut.
One big one, or is it
just-
like one regular size?
It's just one regular
Okay.
size. And they took him to a urologist at Children's, and the doctor said, we actually do what do you call it? Like not an implant. What am I?
Nudicle.
Nudicle?
A nudicle.
Something weird
What do you?
like
A
that.
prosthetic.
Prosthetic,
A
there you go.
prosthetic. They will do a prosthetic ball
Okay.
for the kid. It over time they say that the ball can actually stretch and kind of fill the sack, and so no one will even notice. But of course, the husband was like, "Oh, he's getting that. I'm not having him in the locker room with one fucking ball."
What, you want
And
the
I'm
other
like,
boys to be
well,
impressed with his balls? You want Father fucking O'Malley to want him to have two nuts? Like, just fucking leave it.
Here's the other thing. How close do you think the other boys are looking at your kid's ball sack?
That's fucking weird. Yeah, they
right?
are.
Who cares? Who gives a shit? You know, maybe wait till he's of an age.
But also, even if a girl finds out he has one nut, by that time, it's too late.
It's too late. You're already in it.
You're not going to back out now.
I mean, is she yanking on it being like, I don't know about this?
Exactly.
I mean, you're already there.
Balls are also just, I mean, like, they're the most useful part of your package, but they're just weird.
Yeah, they
I've never
are.
only one woman that I've had in here. Shout out, Janelle Draper.
Of course,
she loves balls. I don't. She
that's
self-proclaimed loves balls, but she's the only woman I ever met that even cares about balls. That even notices balls, unless the guy's like, lick my balls. Like, ugh, now I got to lick his balls. But usually girls do give a fuck about balls.
No.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, that's very on brand for Janelle. She would absolutely love balls.
She's a real underdog
for the ball. She's out there fighting for the ball cause. My take on balls is unless they're one way or like one extreme or another, I don't care.
Well, that's the
like
thing. You notice when it's off.
Yes.
Like if one nut's bigger than the other, like significantly. Like, what the fuck's he want? Yeah.
But I'm only gonna notice if they're super tiny or monstrously large. If they're somewhere in the between, I don't give a shit. When they're whacking my ass, that's when the only time I'm like, all right, yeah, I guess I Anyway, but yeah, balls are weird, and just in general. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
Speaking of balls, how's your son doing with the ladies out here? Is he like California girls?
He has his eye on
Because I feel like the women out here, I don't know how, I mean, look, obviously I don't know how high school girls are. I don't fucking hang around them anymore.
Good.
Not since the judge ordered me not to.
Yes, okay. That reminds me of my favorite.
Not since I stopped selling cocaine did I stop hanging around high school.
That reminds me of my favorite line in this movie, Drowning Mona, which is one of the most underrated movies ever.
I haven't heard of that movie.
Dude.
Okay.
All right. 2 seconds on
There
Drowning
we go.
Mona.
Mike's on it.
Danny DeVito,
I'm in.
Will Ferrell,
I'm
Jamie
in.
Lee Curtis, Casey Affleck, Nev Campbell. It came out years ago. I'm probably the only clown in the world that actually saw it in the movie theater. It's one of the best movies. Like it is low key one of the funniest fucking movies I've ever seen. But anyway, one of the lines, it's great. It's one of those ones where you will laugh out loud. You got to pause it because you're like, are you fucking kidding?
Okay.
And then it's well worth it. And I've watched it so many times, and that like I will still even to this day catch like a line. I'm like, that's brilliant.
It's one of the ones you watch if it's on TV.
If it's on TV, I'm like, I gotta stop. But anyway, one of the lines is Casey Affleck and his the co-star, blanking on the name, is sitting there and he's like, why are you talking to her? It's this girl sitting on a swing, and the kid's like, I don't know. And he's like, she's 13. And the Casey Affleck goes, well, she's only 13. He's like, finally. And it always makes me fucking lose it.
That's a hell of a lineup. Look at that.
Dude, it's
DeVito, Bette Midler, Nev Campbell, Jamie Lee Curtis. Casey Affleck must be young.
Yes,
William
it's
Fincher.
a great cast.
Wow.
I'm telling you, there's people in it you don't even realize. Like, it's
I gotta check
fantastic.
It out. Will Ferrell.
Yeah, dude.
Way down the list too. Not even.
No, this was one of his first.
Early.
Yeah, this is an unsung Melissa McCarthy. Like,
oh my God, she must have been babying that too.
Yeah, like this is one of those like movies that's like underground. Like,
All right, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Once you've seen it, you're like, how is this not a big thing?
Yeah,
You know?
how is it not a smash hit?
Yeah, it's fucking great. But anyway, so back to Teddy with the
girls
ladies.
I know the women out here, like, the adult women, are much different than the women back east. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, I don't date a lot out here. I'm too fucking busy. But and I'm seeing somebody, and I also don't like. I just never. I don't know. I feel like the women out here just didn't have. They were very one dimensional, and they were hard to talk to. Like, ugh. Like once I open the mouth, I'm like, fuck, I wish I hadn't asked you a question. Like, you were much better to look at than to be heard.
Not a lot of substance. Josh said this just last night. He said, here's what I'm finding. He's like, people in the Northeast, not the best looking crew. Smart though. Out here,
they're also fun. They have like stories to tell. They have there's an maybe not an edge, but like there's not an edge. It's more of a character. Like everyone. Yes. They bring something to the table that make me laugh. Women out here aren't that funny. Like the normal women, obviously female comedians, but like just the way women behave back east, they're much more aggressive, and I find it much more entertaining.
You know
what I'm saying? Like it's a lot more exciting.
Yes. Yeah. Like even at my going away party, one of my friends, Johanna, she's off the boat Irish. She got plastered and was like just starting fights with people, and and all my comic friends were like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "That's a townie. What do you?" Yeah. I'm not apologizing.
She had 4 white wine spritzies, and now she wants to slap somebody.
Now she wants to beat someone up. What's the problem here? What's your problem? But Josh was saying this just last night about it. He was like, Northeast, not the best looking crew, but very smart. He's like, out here, great looking, not that bright.
No, well,
And audiences too.
oh well. My thing, these are the hardest. LA has the hardest audiences I play, and I feel like it's because somehow Southern California, San Diego more so than LA for sure, but somehow like LA has this reputation of like, oh, everyone's so laid back and chill. They're the most uptight motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. They're so up their own ass and they're so worried about their image. They're like afraid to laugh at something because it might make them look bad. It's like, what is wrong with you? Like, laughter is involuntary. Just if it's funny, laugh.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be kind. It doesn't have to be fucking, agree with whatever your friends think. Just laugh because it's a stupid thing to say. Like,
yes.
And
there's also like a weird wokeness, like I'm that extreme end of the spectrum where it's like I made a joke about my son being fat. He's not even fat anymore, but I made a joke about...
He's also your son.
Right, he's
You see what I'm saying? Like,
I get
the crowd's like, you can't call your kid fat. He's like, it's my fucking kid. I brought him on this earth. Like,
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Dead fucking silence, right? And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I'm thinking, back home, people laugh at that all the time. And then of course I doubled down to be a dickhead and was like, so that joke offends you as we stand here in the plastic surgery capital of the entire United States. Oh,
no, you're insulting
my bad.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Like, it's just fucking...
You could have went the other direction. He's fat. He fucking wounded me on the way out.
I mean, he did. He dreadfully
Never
so.
been the same again.
To the point where the second baby had to be a C-section, so...
The second baby fell out.
I wish she had. I got fucking gutted like a fish.
Oh, God.
Ugh, gross.
I know.
But yeah, the girls out here. So I haven't had much interaction with them because he was not going to let me near anybody. But
of course not. Mom's so uncool.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
even if you were on TV,
I'm cringe.
I know, cringe.
Cringe.
That's the new thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cringe.
Yeah. And they won't. So Jenny has. So he won't let me. I know he likes a cheerleader, and I know there's another girl that likes him in his like biology class. And I said, go for the nerd, not the cheerleader. And he was like,
depends.
And and Josh was like, you do whatever you want, Ted. And I'm like, anyway, but I want him to go smart. Who cares? All right, he's 15. He's gonna fall.
It's not gonna be the one.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm sure he thinks it's gonna be the one.
Yeah.
But he'll learn quickly that it's not.
I told him, I go, you're gonna fall in love 20 more times before anything, if not more. I'm also trying to come at them with a different mindset about like sexuality and like relationships and like trying to explain.
That's
like,
the weird thing out here, man. People don't. There's less traditional relationships and more fucking thruples. I'm in an open relationship. You mean you're single? I've had this conversation. I argue about it all the time. It's like, I'm in an open relationship. Why? Just be single. You have all the problems with the like.
It makes no
sense. You don't have to like justify who you're going out with when you're single.
Right.
Right. You can just date as many people as you'd like at once. You don't have to tell your husband you're sucking some other guy's dick.
Or
like it's weird. Just divorce him and be single.
It is weird. The concept of the open relationship to me is so batshit crazy because I live with this person. I pay bills with this person. I got to do all this shit with this person. But I'm going to go over here and get banged. But then I'm going to come back to that. I can't even wrap my head around it.
Well, it's even, like I said, it's even when you have like the throuple and you have like a fucking, like a full-on relationship with like two women or two men, whatever the configuration is. Like a relationship with one person is nearly impossible.
Oh.
Adding a third sounds like a nightmare.
A
nightmare. I couldn't imagine having two wives to report to.
No,
fucked up, dude. Like,
no. I'm already like no. I can't even the time, energy, and effort it would take.
I know.
And to make it work for what? Like, come on. Like either.
People, I feel like people think it's going to be cooler than it is.
Right.
It's
right.
Just like a three-way.
Right. If you want to have a three-way every once in a while, make that part of the relationship. Fine, go do that. That's
get a hooker.
Thing. Right.
Fucking niche.
Right.
Have her come in. She's a professional.
Do her job.
Get the fuck out.
And then leave.
Right?
Just get the fuck out.
Sign up another car note for her too. Like,
I'm not doing additional laundry for a third person. I'm not making additional meals. Get the fuck out. Like, out of my space.
Yeah, you got to remember somebody else's birthday. We have a third anniversary now. Fuck
Absolutely
this.
not. No. I can barely keep up with the shit I have to deal with in my own life. I can't imagine adding another adult to that.
It's weird because I feel like it seems like what drives that is more of a sense of not wanting to be alone.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
like if you were comfortable being single and just dating around, you'd have all that fun and none of that responsibility.
Yeah.
But by you're in a relationship, you don't want to lose that relationship, so just add another person to it. Because I like that person too. It's like, no, just dump them and go to them, and then dump them and go to the next. Just fucking do whatever you got to do. Like,
I cannot, like, for me personally, and again, we've already said this, I don't have the time to exert. I don't have the energy to expend. I don't, between comedy and my real job and the kids, and like, in what universe could I try to be sexy for another person? I don't have it in me. You know?
You know how many text messages I would add to my day? How many fucking phone calls I'd have to add to the week?
Speaking
to
of
hear
the-
about your
Okay.
what Larry did at work. I don't give a fuck.
Now you have to
don't
deal
care.
with 2 of that? Absolutely not.
Twice as much.
I'm gonna tell you something too. Josh has been getting on my last fucking nerve. When we first started dating, he said to me very clearly, he was like, "No, listen, this is when he had the upper hand."
How were you guys when you started dating?
I was 28 and he was 23. He was a baby.
Oh, you were
yeah.
young. Good
I
for you, Laura.
snatched him like
Good.
he had a drinking problem and he was not.
I snatched him up. He had a drinking problem. Well, I wouldn't call that a catch.
This is how I saw this kid and I was like, that's him. Because like he was going out every weekend partying with his friends. He definitely had a drinking problem and he wasn't getting regular puss. And so what I did was
Loyalty counts when you can't get it. Yeah.
when you're not getting it on the reg and somebody comes in and they're a little older and they know what they're doing, you're like, I'm in love, you know, and I'm like, you aren't, but I'm gonna make you be.
Yeah, I'll find you out.
figure it out. Yeah. So we've been, together a long time, but we had all right. So we had a thing. So all right. So as you know, I have this new body thing going on, and I actually I had the mommy makeover recently. That is boobs and I had tummy tuck. Yeah.
Is that tough?
No, actually, it wasn't.
I feel like I heard the tummy tuck is tough because it's like you can't move. You're upright, yeah.
Yeah, so I had it on May 30th, and for the first 3 months, I was kind of hunched over, and then I've just in the last month started to be able to straighten out without it feeling weird. But it's flat. It's like for the first time in my life, I get like a flat stomach.
Nice.
It's unbelievable.
Nice.
And then I got these little guys, and I'm very happy with them. They're little, but they're fantastic. They are not real and they are amazing. Anyway, but I love them. And sometimes I'll get out of the shower and I'll like come out and I'm like, look at you. Anyway, but so we had this. So I had said to Josh, he's been with me for so long and he's been through every iteration of my body from normal size to massively overweight to normal to pregnant to, to this. Like he's been through it with me, right?
A few cycles, a few seasons.
Yeah. And, part of these body things that unfolded were his fault. He got me pregnant. I didn't get myself pregnant. And and he's the one that fed me. And so, these, whatever. So I'd be like...
Has he remained the same the whole time?
He goes up and down.
Okay.
He's a typical guy. Like he'll get big and then he'll drop 50 pounds without even thinking about it. And then he'll gain it back. And, he's just one of those dudes. Like, one minute I'm looking at him, I'm like, hey, you look fucking great. And then the next minute I'm like, you're a big boy. You're a very big boy. But he's in his big boy stage. But I fucking love it. Okay. I fucking love it. Because now I'm little. And I got to tell you something, Randy. This is wildly inappropriate. But I'm going to go ahead and share. He fucking throws me around now. And we haven't had that in so long.
You feel like a teenager all over
again?
Dude.
I don't. Without getting specific, I will tell you this. The other night, I was like, "You need to. They're gonna hear us. Take it down a notch." And he was like,
"Oh, believe me, they'd leave the house if they heard you. They're gonna come and dress it."
My daughter at the door.
There's nothing more cringe than hearing your parents have sex. I can tell you that much.
And the funny thing of it is we don't think it's cringe. We think we're being hot and sexy, and then you realize no, if you're a 13-year-old girl or a 15-year-old boy and you ever heard
your
the
parents
banging, be like, oh my God. But meanwhile we're in there
it's weird. It's weird how you're grossed out by your parents.
Right, but we don't even think...
The same thing that brought you on this earth you find repulsive.
100%. Oh my God. Okay, we had a minor incident. So very minor. Nobody saw anything. But so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get some actual lingerie. I'm gonna be a lady. You know what I mean? I got to buy. I'm gonna be sexy for the first time ever, right? So I had a shopping cart, and I'm a cheap piece of shit.
I was gonna say you went to Walmart for lingerie.
You ready?
Do they sell lingerie?
No. Online.
Okay.
but again, I'm a cheap piece of shit. So is my Amazon cart.
Okay.
The whole family has access to the Amazon account. I wasn't even thinking.
Everyone's looking at your fucking order history.
Oh,
my God.
So I have like, this sexy, like, I mean, I went all in. I had like the goddess. It's bright red. There's like the boobs are cut out. There's no vein. It's fucking white,
Crotchless veins.
Yes. And it's in the cart. Then I threw in a couple other little like sexy, whatever. And then I could hear, and everybody's allowed to put stuff in the cart, and whatever. Everybody, yeah. And like 2 days later, Jenny was like, there's stuff in the shopping cart on Amazon, and I was like,
your father ordered it,
and I was like, what are you even talking about? And she's just like, it's very made me uncomfortable, and I'm like, all right. And
why would you bring it up? I would forget. I would try to wipe it from my memory if I were her.
Like I'm glad we're so open, but also get the fuck out of my shopping cart. You know what I mean? Like this is a child that tried to order a princess bed when she was like 7 on that app.
Smart.
Oh yeah, $700 bed.
Wow.
Thank God I caught it in time. But anyway, that was a whole thing. But anyway. And I was like, oh my God, I'm mortified. First of all, why are you buying lingerie on Amazon, you fucking loser? And then your 13-year-old just saw that. That's embarrassing for all of us. That's gross. I mean, I still ordered it.
I know, right? Did your husband appreciate it?
He did, yeah. Because for him, again, you have to understand he's been through so much with this.
Well, I mean, he moved out here for you, So
he did. I feel like
I'm sure he's happy to see you happy.
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
100%. Like he even said to me, he goes, he did make a funny comment to me though. He's like, I'm loving this because it's like I'm getting some strange, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. I'm like, I get same old you, but anyway.
Yeah, maybe shave your fucking pubes a little bit.
Do something. Like, I don't know, I'll fucking grow a mustache. I don't know, anything. But yeah, he moved out here for me, and he's one of the best human beings on this planet. He's like an angel on this earth, truly. Like I don't know. I'll never be able to match how good he is. You know what I mean?
I'm sure they'll come. God, women live longer than men, so you'll probably be wiping his ass. So
at some point, yeah.
So he'll get his turn.
Yeah, he's just. I think about how lucky I am. Because there's not a lot of.
Well, how long have you been married now?
We've been married 18 years.
Yeah, see, it's 1 year in a relationship is a fucking battle.
Yeah.
18 years in a marriage, and you've known him longer than that.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
No.
That's not easy.
Yeah, we've been through a lot. And but he's always been so strong and steady and true and so good to me. I mean, even at my biggest, this man was like, I think you're sexy. I think you're beautiful. It doesn't matter what anyone else. Like, he's always been like my,
oh, that's sweet.
my guy.
Good
you
guy.
know what I mean? Yeah, he's, what's crazy about him? So his name is Joshua Anthony. He introduced himself to me when we met in the club in downtown Boston at the Sugar Shack, which doesn't exist anymore.
Great name.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of cocaine was done there.
100%. Absolutely. When he introduced himself to me as Josh, and I was like, all right. And I thought, whatever, I don't care. But his whole family calls him Anthony or Tony,
really?
and all his friends call him Tony. And
What was that? As a get out of jail free card? In case,
I don't know.
In case he didn't like you, he's like, oh, no, someone, hey, I'm looking for Josh. And like, that's my fake name. Don't give my number.
I don't understand why he did that.
Okay.
Because also, I would have liked Tony better.
Why don't you just start calling him Tony?
Because I can't now. It's like
It's too
imprinted
late.
on me.
Yeah.
But I wish he had, because Josh to me is like kind of a preppy, so short kid.
Mm-hmm.
Tony throws me around the bedroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's two different, and I would have liked Tony. But now I'm like, it's Josh. You know what I mean? It's a weird fucking, and his friends will be like, hey, how's Tony doing? And I'm like, he's fine. But it's just so, and his whole family, his aunt, Anthony, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, this is the weirdest.
That is kind of weird.
It is.
It's weird that all of this, I get it, like if your family calls you something and then your friends call you something else. But his family and friends call him the same thing, and then just you.
Just me.
It seems like he was curious as to whether or not you'd be fucking crazy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was up to something, and he got stuck with the name Josh for the rest of his life with his wife.
And even to the point where I'm just like, I don't even want to call you your name. Like when he's in the other room, I'm just like, Josh. It just sounds lame. You know what I mean? It's like, it's
Well, you wanted to
weird.
name your son Rocco, so I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
I
And
guess
how
that's-
cool would Laura
Tony
and
and
Tony and Rocco and Genevieve, you know what I mean? Like, that's cool fucking
Sorry,
family.
the fucking episode of The Sopranos.
Kind of. And meanwhile, I'm like as Irish as it comes, and he's Italian, obviously. So we're in a mixed marriage. But
A mixed marriage. That's what counts for a mixed marriage in Boston.
100%.
Zero black people. It's whether or not you're Irish or
Are
Italian.
you Irish or Italian? I have this T-shirt that I wear. It says Irish Princess, and I love it. Right? It's actually in tribute to Sinead O'Connor, but of course, it's very classically Boston T-shirt. But anyway, he's always like, when you wear that, he's like, I get so fucking turned on.
Really?
Yeah, he's like
An Irish Princess
Yes,
T-shirt?
yes,
Doesn't take much for
yes.
Josh, huh?
No,
A
you know what
fucking
else?
Stiff Breeze will get a fucking boner.
Well, yeah. He's a man. So you know what else gets him going? And this is a very classic. I've talked about this
One
with
testicle?
actually just the one ball. I've talked about this with Will Noonan actually from Boston. I had the
love Will,
same
yeah.
conversation. Okay. The scent that gets him going is my perfume that I've been wearing for like 25 years. It's this old school perfume called Anais Anais. It's beautiful. It's very floral, whatever. But it's my scent, like my signature
Yeah.
scent. But after I've had a cigarette, he loves the faint of that like smell
Really?
of the perfume mingled with the cigarette
Well,
smoke.
that might be back when you guys met thing. When you're
Yes.
young and you're smoking outside of
Yes.
a bar, and
Yeah,
you're
and
all
you're
drunk,
like-
fucking around. Yeah.
So every once in a while, like, I'll go out and have a Marlboro. I'll be like, what are you up to? He's just like, yeah. But there's like that he's like, something about that smell turns me on. He's like, I don't know if it's an 80s, 90s smell.
Yeah,
'cause the
it's gotta be
perfume is-
nostalgia
But
thing.
it's definitely like a trigger for him. And Will and I were talking about the same thing, how that perfume with that undercurrent of Marlboro Light is
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there's
Well,
something
he's a former
to it.
smoker, so I'm sure he's into it.
And
yeah.
and he's like he grew up in Milton, but he's also like got the towny roots in Southie, and so there's definitely there's that girl, and she wears the hoops, and she's
Yeah.
got a mouth on her, and she definitely has been punched and done some punching.
I'm wondering. I dated a ton of girls in Boston. I was single most of the time I was there, and I'm sure I dated a few townies, but I'm trying to think if I like. Probably the biggest town I ever dated was from like Central Connecticut, like a real Italian girl from Central Connecticut. But I guess I was running in different circles when I was in Boston. I was also a little older, in my fucking 30s. I would go down to fucking Murphy's Law or whatever and go watch the fights at the end of the night.
Fucking love Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
Every time
down on L Street. So those who don't know, Murphy's Law is a bar in Boston. It's a dive. And you go there at the end of the night because after 1 o'clock, there's going to be fights in the street.
Yeah.
So you're at some other actual normal bar, and then you're going to go down and watch the fights because some local guy's going to knock each other in the fucking head later. It's sweating without fail every night.
You're going for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Murphy's Law always, when we lived in Southie, we would drive by Murphy's Law going in town or whatever. And Josh would always turn to me and go, Patty, I want you to put your nice dress on. We're going up Murphy's Law. We're going to have a couple beers and we'll head home, all right? We'll fucking start no shit. And he would do this whole thing. Oh, we had a whole a scenario about how Patty would run into her ex and he'd have to fight him, and it was just ridiculous.
So what do you miss most about back east? It's been 3 months, so I'm sure there's some things you're like, I'm sure like the first few months, you're like, ooh, it's all brand new. And then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck, I can't,
right.
I want to do this, I can't do that.
All right. A couple things I miss. Well, first of all, I do miss October in Boston because October.
Beautiful. Gorgeous.
Breathtaking.
Yeah.
I mean, you
it's
want to
really
talk
nice.
about a fall fucking experience.
Yeah.
That's the place to do it.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. I miss what I'm going to say this. I miss the Italian because even the best Italian out here is not as it doesn't compare.
Yeah.
The North End in Boston is arguably one of the
It's
best.
fantastic. I'm a New Yorker, but I lived in Boston. Both towns have far better. You can't get a cannoli for shit out here.
No.
I don't even know where the fuck you look. Yeah.
I had gnocchi the other night that I was just like, all right.
Yeah. Well, they have like high end Italian places, but that's not like that's. It's like fine dining. They have fine dining like that in Boston, but like it's like a local Italian place. Like, and not necessarily like down market, but just like the classics. You can't get a decent chicken parm worth shit out here.
Right.
Like that kind of thing. you go to Ronzio's in fucking either East Boston, wherever it is.
Yeah.
Like you can't get that kind of stuff.
No,
Yeah.
you can't. You cannot. I just want good chicken parm.
Yeah.
I could walk into any restaurant in the North End and get good chicken parm.
Yeah.
Here, you're like, all right, this is.
Yeah, but that's I tell my
breaded.
friends back east,
But-
don't come out here looking for it though.
No, that's
you know
the
out
thing.
here you eat the sushi, right?
Exactly.
You go, you
So-
do what you do. Like I don't fucking fly to South Africa and wonder, hey, where the fuck is the pizza? You know, like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
No,
you're
you know where
exactly
you are.
right.
It's like, all right,
You're
I
not
get
gonna
Chinese food
get-
back east. I go to my Italian bakeries back east when I'm back home.
Yes.
Here I stay with the local stuff.
Absolutely.
Mexican sushi,
The
all
Italian
great. Yeah.
and the Chinese, you are not going to get that. So here, you're right. It's
Particularly
Mexican
Boston
and
Chinese.
Asian.
Like even Boston Chinese is different than New York Chinese.
Yep.
It's a very specific, like the
Yep.
Kowloon and like corner this market on like these staple Chinese things that the Chinese people don't fucking eat. They just
No.
make the food
No.
and sell to the Irish and Italian people.
We're like, I need chicken
On Route
fingers,
1.
some beef teriyaki.
Yeah. Yeah,
Where's my crab rangoons?
Yeah, where there's no fucking crab in it. It's cream cheese.
Yeah, it's cream cheese and imitation crab.
Yeah, if you get the high end stuff,
right.
sometimes they just put the cream cheese.
Yeah, that's true.
In a wonton.
And then you're just like, this is still fucking delicious.
Yeah,
Oh, did you put creamy cheese in a crispy? Oh, no.
yeah, whatever that sweet and sour sauce is, they dip everything
the
in.
duck sauce.
The duck, yeah.
One of my friends is Chinese. Her father owns a Chinese restaurant. I'm like, tell me what's in duck sauce. And she's like, honest to God, it's fucking applesauce and like syrup. She's like, it's
Is
not
it
a
really?
mystery.
What is it? I never knew
Yeah.
it was in duck sauce.
Yeah, it's like I mean, she's like, there's more to it than that, but she's like, that's the basics of it. And I was like, oh shit, that's brilliant. But okay, so here's what I miss. You ready?
Yeah.
I miss not having the guy. You ready?
The guy,
The
I usually
guy.
refers to a drug dealer.
The guy, because everybody, we all have our guys, right?
Oh,
and I'm
like
a
the hookup,
townie,
yeah.
And so I had my guy for parking. I had my guy for,
yeah.
my hair. I had my guy for my tattoos. I had my guy for, I miss having, my guy.
Yeah.
Whoever that may be.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I say.
so I
all the
gotta
time,
build
I got a
those.
guy. It's like, oh, I need this. Oh, I got a guy for that.
I got a guy.
Yeah, I got a guy for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Like even just stupid shit like parking. Like I had a guy down in off Huntington Ave that would let me park in the lot for $5 to go do my comedy shows.
That's
you know
a
what I
big
mean?
thing back east for the listener. Many of you know because you are back east, but especially in Boston, like, because it snows a fuck ton, and I know it's south here in particular. If you dig out your car, you can put any item in that space,
Yep.
and that is your space until the
Yep.
snow melts.
Yep.
I've seen ironing boards, coat
Yep.
racks, fucking. One time I saw like a fucking somebody put like an oven. I don't even know
Oh,
where
yeah.
they fucking got an oven. It must have been in someone else's trash. Where they like dragged an oven, and that spot is reserved. And if you move that fucking thing and park there,
Well,
they're gonna fuck your car up.
Yeah,
I mean they're gonna
and
break your windows. Yeah.
If you park and if you have the audacity to move into that spot, you best believe your car's gonna
car's
be
dead.
keyed.
Yeah,
yeah, you're
It's
done.
gonna be on fire when you come
Yeah,
back.
100%. So he. So true.
I've seen guys get into fist fights over parking spots.
Oh,
Yeah, all the time.
My neighbors had a war. They were leaving real nasty notes on each other's cars, and I finally went outside and go, "When's the fight?" Stop writing notes
Being a
to
bunch
each
of
other because it
bitches.
was like it was like these two yuppie girls were like, "Dear Jill, stop leaving. Stop parking in my spot." Dear Amy, and I'm like, "Fight, please, clowns, fucking suburban little twats that moved here to Southie. Fucking, I want to see some fists thrown."
Just passive aggressive
But,
bullshit.
Yeah. But yeah, I miss having like those hookups, like even like the restaurant and stuff. Like yeah, so that's been hard, like in trying to figure out like little basic things like, well, where do I get my hair and how do I get my hair done?
That was the
But-
biggest one for me. It took me fucking 2 years to finally find a barber that I liked.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be with them
So-
until I leave LA.
Yeah.
I had fucking one barber back, and that was it.
That's
for
it.
my life. He
And
cut my hair. Yeah.
Teddy and Josh's barber's been cutting Ted's hair since he was an infant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but I'm learning, like there's a place in Burbank called Frenchie's, and it's based on Grease, the
Okay.
movie. Remember Frenchie?
That's
She wanted
fun,
to
yeah.
own the beauty
The pink
salon.
hair.
Yes. Well, they have
Looks like an Easter egg.
They have it is a little Easter egg. They have a salon in Burbank called Frenchie's, and
Okay.
that's like would be her salon if it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
real, and it's fucking dope. It's pink and black lace, and all the girls are tatted up, and it's
Okay.
fucking awesome. So I found that, but I texted my guy while I was in the chair and had the two of them talk,
Yeah.
and so it was kind of cute.
I had my
'cause-
barber take
Yeah.
a bunch of pictures of my head before I
Yeah.
move out here. So whoever the fuck, just do this.
Yes, yeah, and she was like, oh, so she's like, oh, so I'm going with warm number 7 to okay, got it, and like so it was
Worked out.
fine.
Good.
But one thing that so I don't I actually don't miss Boston. Okay, those are like those are the things I miss, I guess. But I don't miss Boston. Like I'm actually going back this weekend,
Yeah.
and I'm actually anxious about it. I went back 3 weeks ago because Tom Brady was coming home to Gillette, and they
Yeah.
were going to do a big thing. And I flew in and flew right back fucking out. I was in for like 24 hours. I just had to see him and get home, right? And but I don't miss the insularity,
Oh yeah,
the
it's like,
tininess.
Yeah, it's like very, it's very.
It's insular.
Yeah, insular.
Insular.
That's
I
the right
can't
word.
fucking
That's the
talk.
right word. You
There
got
it
it.
is.
Insular.
I don't miss that. I don't miss the like incestuous nature of it,
Yeah.
and of the comedy.
Yeah,
and
people
I don't
don't
miss.
really tend to go nowhere.
Yeah,
Like, so
they're either staying there and they're making it work for them because that's what they need to because they have
you
families
leave. Yeah.
or get the fuck out. Like
Yeah.
if you're actually going to do something with yourself or you think you want to with comedy, you have to
there's only a
leave.
handful of guys and gals out there who are going to make it a career in Boston, and God bless them. Most of them are knowingly doing it. Like, you know, Will's like, yeah, why the fuck would I leave?
No,
Like,
he's
doing well,
got
he's
a
doing
great
commercials,
thing.
He's got a great thing going. You know, Corey, he's got his family.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
but,
and he's got a great thing going to
yeah.
Kelly McFarlane.
Kelly, yep.
She's got the
then
family.
the rest of us got to fucking go.
Right, yeah.
There's only so many
Because-
spots. You know, like,
and-
I'm not going to take Corey out of the place. You know,
Yeah,
like,
that
I'm
ain't
fucking-
happening.
I'm-
I mean, he's
I'm moving. I'll
fucking-
see you later.
Yeah, right. But they've made careers. They can
Yeah.
do comedy full time. I mean, they've got the cruises and the corporate gigs and whatever. I
Yeah.
can't do corporate gigs because I swear too
same.
much. I'm not doing cruises because I'm not clean
Yeah.
comic. Like those are not options for me.
Yeah.
My options are more limited because I'm not gonna work clean. I'm just
Yeah.
not.
Oh,
I mean,
I just don't think about it. The jokes I write that are funny to me are the ones I tell, and the things that are funny to me aren't clean.
Right.
I never had a clean thought like, that's hilarious. You know, like, oh, birds. That's not fucking funny. You know, it doesn't occur to me to be funny.
I'm not even purposely like I'm not dirty. Like I do have a handful of dirty stuff about me and Josh, but I'm not purposefully dirty. But what I do a lot is I swear. And I know
Yeah.
that I need to knock it off and try to have my F-bombs a little more
It
well
depends.
placed.
It depends on how you're using them. I mean,
Yeah,
I swear a lot too.
I'm trying to
I've
get-
done my act without swearing, and it's still fucking dirty.
Yeah,
it's still horrible.
yeah.
Like people are like, yeah, okay, you didn't say fuck, but that was pretty aggressive. You know?
It was still aggressive. On my Don't Tell tape, I counted the number of times I swore, and I'm like, if you had just dropped like even one or two, because it almost became a little bit distracting. I mean, it's a good tape, it's a good set, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The material was good, it was tight. I just did all mom shit, but it still, there was like, I just wish I had like maybe taken it down a notch.
We'll
you
see how
know?
it changes. Look, there's also a piece of advice that Jeff Dye gave me when I came here that I would give to you. Your act might, and just the way you are, might put people off early on here. Don't change because it makes you different.
Yeah.
It's not like every other fucking asshole, you know, doing, you know, Yamashiro. Whatever. You don't want to sound like every other comic
True.
on stage.
And no, you're absolutely right. And I'm not coming, you know, I'm going to the mics at the Improv. I'm, you know, trying to hit the store. I'm trying to do all these things. And I do notice, and this is not, I'm not putting LA comedy down at all. I love it here. I've made incredible friends. I'm very happy here, but I do notice there's a very common theme. Like back home in Boston, there's like certain trope that people
Yeah.
do, and you can see the certain tropes
Yeah.
that are out here. And it's everybody has ADHD. Everyone's on the spectrum. Everybody's trying to date. Every girl's had an abortion.
Yep.
Every guy jerks off. Like it's like you know you can almost do a bingo card,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know
yeah.
an open mic bingo card. Like up there it is. You know up there
Yeah.
it is. And so I'm trying to stand out just with my material alone, you know, but with talking about my weight, talking about the body stuff, talking about, you know, the surgeries that I had and getting myself on my little opiate run and talking about, that was fun. And talking about the kids, but not trying, I don't want to be a momic,
Yeah.
but they do. So I've been actually limiting a lot of my kid joke stuff too, purposefully, so that I don't get,
Become
I don't want
that
to,
person here.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
that
want
makes
that
sense.
either. Talking a lot about the marriage, but putting it in a different light in terms of like not doing that old like, my husband is an asshole and
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
thinks I be shopping. None of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When I come out talking about Josh, I talk about how much I love him, how great he is, you know, and how we're just really good partners. And then I try to do like a little bit of role reversal because in our relationship in real life, we have a lot of role reversal in that he's the primary parent. You know what I mean? Because I'm out running around
Right,
doing all this
doing
shit.
this, yeah.
And how like I joke around that, you know, after work, I'm like, I want these kids bathed and fed and you better have the laundry done. And, you know, like,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to do just be different with the material too, not even just and I will tell you this much, sometimes I will lean heavily into the accent, and then other times I'll take it back, like I'll pull back on it. I was doing shows in Santa Barbara.
You never know out here.
Well, I was doing shows in Santa Barbara. It's a wealthy area. They're not used to that gritty, rough, whatever. So I, took it down a notch, and I did like lower key material. So I've always been very good. One of my actual true talents is I do know how to read a room. Okay. I do. I always have. And I thank God that I was in so many different rooms back home in Boston, from the Cambridge, Somerville rooms.
Those rooms.
They
never liked me too much. Yeah.
And
I ended up doing well up there after a while. You just got to fucking stay on them. At least for me, it's like, all right, you're not going to change your material, but you got to figure out a way to sell it to them.
Yeah.
Make them not feel guilty about laughing at a joke that it might be horrible.
Right.
Figure, just massage it a little bit.
Yep. Get them on your side. I'm doing a joke.
That's a lot of it. Put my harder stuff later.
Yes. I'm doing a joke right now about, I was at Boston Calling back in May, and I pulled a wicked Gen X move, and I feel like I'm still a little embarrassed about it, but we were watching the Foo Fighters, and the girl in front of me held up her phone like this, and it was right in front of my fucking face. And so I did the classic. I'm like still embarrassed, but whatever. I tapped her. I was like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't see past your phone. And then I doubled down, and I was like, also, you should just be in the moment. Why did I do it? Like, mind your fucking business, right? I totally did. Well, she whips around, and she was like, you ready? This killed me. She goes, I'm dying. I have less than a year to live. So my thought was,
good, you won't be in the way next year.
Yeah, exactly. My first thought was, why do you need the video?
Yeah, exactly. What are you saving it for?
Also, shouldn't you be up on stage with Dave Grohl then? Didn't you make a wish, bitch? Fuck you. But she doesn't know. What she doesn't know is I'm with one of my really good friends who's an oncology nurse, right? I have been in the medical field my entire life. So I turned to her and I went like this. I went, oh, you are not ruining my night. I'm dying. Get the fuck out of here. Are you really? Then what are you doing in Alston? Because if I'm dying, I'm in fucking Fiji. All right. Exactly. I just took out a credit card in my sister's name, and I'm in fucking Fiji. All right, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, you're leaving your sister with the bad credit, not your own dead body.
She'll handle it. Get the hell out of here. But so I wrote this whole joke around it. But what I do is when I start the joke, I make it very clear that I've been in the medical profession so that people know, like, I'm not coming at this, but I've seen dying people. I know what death looks like, and you ain't it.
But also, the story doesn't even have to be real. People be like, you can't say that. It's like, I'm
saying it.
The story.
And also, I'm saying
I didn't actually say it to the woman. I just moved over. But you can invent the rest of the story.
Allie and I looked at each other, and I literally said out loud to her, oh, she is not ruining my night.
No.
Allie was like, oh, and mine either. I mean, literally, Allie is working for, a pharma company she's an oncology, she's got a fucking PhD. She's working on cancer drugs, and this bitch is like, I'm dying. Dying. You are, because I'm about to clock you. But and you what killed me about that, Randy, though, she pulled that out of her back. It was like she was waiting. She was waiting to be like, ugh, I'm dying. Like, like a locked and loaded gun. Fuck you.
I know. She had it. Well, I hope she dies, but I'm glad you're alive. I'm glad you're here in LA, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got to do this more often. Where can the people find you?
So I've been doing a lot of don't tell shows.
Nice. I'm in touch with those people.
You have to. Yeah, they're so great.
I took on a day job, so I've been busy the last 5 months, but I resigned. I got 30 more days, and I'm part-time in it, and then
good
20 hours a week. So
good. So you'll be able to focus.
Same money's half the time. I like that.
That's the way to go.
Well, they're desperate. I said, I'm quit. I said, how about you work half the time? I said, fine.
Where are you working? I mean, we might need to talk.
But where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram, just my name, and I'm, I throw up my shows. I typically put them in my stories, not on the grid, because I noticed that my stories get a lot of engagement, which is,
I don't know.
Weird.
People don't like to support things on the grid.
No, the grid you can go fuck it.
Of course, I'll clip this up. I'll tag and everything so everyone knows who you are.
Good. Thank
Laura
you.
Severse, thanks for coming on. As
Thank
always,
you.
Guys, we love you. That's it for this episode. Check you next week. Peace.